I wanted to talk to Bob Dylan. His songs of protest and turmoil spoke to an entire age. Although many people have tried to analyze his life, he has mostly kept quiet. What you will see is true Dylan. Mysterious, hard to grasp, and captivating. Bob Dylan changed the music scene in the 1960s. His songs became the strong voice for an age. His ability went beyond normal limits, exploring areas most people wouldn't think a musician could go. But underneath the success is a guy full of contradictions. Bob Dylan received tough criticism from his fans. His personal life was full of ups and downs, with love and sadness often connected. Surprisingly, although praised by the intellectual community, he acted in ways that disappointed many people. What really happened in Bob Dylan's life? How did a singer go beyond music to reach the highest level of art and writing? Come with us as we look at Bob Dylan's emotional journey, which includes both great successes and deep struggles. Bob Dylan, whose real name is Robert Allen Zimmerman, was born on May 24, 1941, the small town of Duluth, Minnesota. His family, second-generation Jewish immigrants in America, worked to build a safe life in a society fraught with prejudice. His parents, Abram and Beatty Zimmerman, owned a small appliance shop. But their lives changed when Abram was injured in an accident and became paralyzed. This event made the family move to his mother's city of Hibbing, where Robert grew up. Robert's love for music began to take shape. He would spend hours listening to the radio, tuning into blues and country music stations broadcasting from Shreveport, Louisiana. As he became a teenager, he fell in love with the loud rock and roll music of Elvis Presley and Little Richard. Each song opened up a sense of freedom, showing a view beyond life in a small town. Robert didn't only listen, he took his interest and did something about it. While he was at Hibbing High School, he started several bands that mostly played songs by Little Richard, Elvis Presley, and other rock and roll stars. At a school talent show, his band played Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay by Danny and the Juniors. Their music was so loud and lively that the organizers asked them to turn off the mics. In 1959, the Hibbing High School yearbook reported Robert Zimmerman to join Little Richard. That year, Robert chose the stage name Elston Gunn and played piano and joined the rhythm groups while performing with Bobby Vee for a short time. These experiences were not just for having fun as a young person. They set the stage for Dylan's future success. A key moment happened when Robert found folk music, especially through the music of Leadbelly, and most importantly, Woody Guthrie. Guthrie was not just a musician, he was a poet and social activist whose songs shared powerful stories about struggle and resistance. Guthrie's words inspired Zimmerman to use music to tell stories and share important social messages. To celebrate his change, Robert decided to change his name to Bob Dylan. The new name was inspired by author Dylan Thomas and represented freedom, allowing him to move away from his past and create his own unique artistic identity. Bob, a short form of Robert, paired with Dylan makes a name that sounds artistic and is great for a storyteller. After that, Bob Dylan wanted more than just to be a rock star. He wanted to be more than just a musician. He wanted to share stories through his songs. The exciting energy of rock and roll, combined with the heartfelt sound of folk music, influenced the artist, who changed music and society for good. On January 24, 1961, amidst the hard winter of New York City, a young man named Bob Dylan arrived with little more than an old guitar and a limitless dream. The social situation at the time was very unstable. As America entered the 1960s, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, with fierce battles for social justice and increasingly strong voices of dissent. Greenwich Village, where Dylan found a safe place, was the center of the folk music movement. It was a home for young artists who used music to express themselves and push for social change. This was a time when each song and its words had a deeper meaning than just being enjoyable. They were calls to take action and moments of realization. Dylan took in the surroundings, playing music at small coffee shops and meeting important people like Pete Seeger and his hero, Woody Guthrie. Dylan sees music as a way to tell stories and share important messages about society. Dylan didn't just take in these influences, he changed them. He combined the richness of folk music with his own strong personality to create a style that is truly his own. His relationship with Joan Baez, a famous folk singer, helped make Dylan more popular. Baez not only shared the stage with him, he also shared his music with more people, which helped him become well known in the folk movement. Yet, what set Dylan apart was his determination not to stay confined to small stages or reliant on others' support. He carved out his own legacy through his powerful songwriting. Bob Dylan started his career with his first album, which was titled Bob Dylan, in 1962. Although it didn't have a big effect, the album displayed Dylan's skills in telling stories and writing songs. Songs like Song to Woody showed the impact Woody Guthrie had on Dylan, who saw him as both a hero and a guide. A year later, Dylan became famous with his album The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, which established him as an important figure in folk music. Songs like Blowing in the Wind became important symbols of the civil rights movement, with simple yet profound lyrics that resonated deeply with an entire generation. Meanwhile, A Hard Rain's a Gonna Fall emerged as a musical epic, blending music and poetry to reflect the turbulent reality of American society. In 1965, Dylan took a bold leap into electric rock with the album Bringing It All Back Home. This shift caused immediate shockwaves dividing his fan base. The controversy peaked at the 1965 Newport Folk Festival, where Dylan performed with an electric band. The sound of the electric guitar not only shook the stage, but also disrupted the beliefs of thousands in the audience. Buying angry faces and accusations of betrayal filled the air. Yet Dylan remained steadfast, continuing his revolutionary trajectory with iconic works like a Rolling Stone and the album Highway 61 Revisited. The 6-minute-long Like a Rolling Stone broke every rule in the music business at the time, becoming a symbol of personal and creative liberation. Following Highway 61 Revisited, Dylan stunned the world again with Blonde on Blonde, 1966, one of the first double records in rock history. With its rich variety of sound and depth of lyrics, the album demonstrated Dylan's boundless creativity. In the years that followed, he faced immense pressure from the public and enemies alike. One anecdote recounts Dylan losing his favorite jacket before a show, allegedly driving him to a frenzy, an indication of his perfectionism not only in music but also in his personal image. Having solidified his place in rock music, Dylan continued to explore new paths. In 1969, he produced Nashville Skyline, blending country and rock with a softer, smoother tone. By the late 1970s, Dylan experimented with gospel music in Slow Train Coming, 1979, a work expressing his profound religious faith. In the 1980s, as new music styles became popular, Dylan changed his approach with his album Infidels in 1983. Mixing rock, reggae, and current styles shows his constant growth, even when others doubt him. In 1989, Dylan showed his lasting ability with the album Oh Mercy, which showed his growth after many years of both professional and personal challenges. Dylan kept his position and showed great ability to adapt during his trip. He started with folk music. Bob Dylan built a lasting reputation not just with his music, but by constantly changing and pushing himself through the rise of rock music over the years. Dylan always went beyond limits and didn't fear criticism, creating works that lasted through time. He became more than just a singer. He became a symbol of his time, changing how people see music. Dylan's work shows that real creativity has no boundaries. His music still inspires people today and will continue to inspire future generations. Bob Dylan, a famous musician from the 20th century, is known for his amazing songs and performances, as well as his moving and complicated personal life. His partnerships and marriages, his experiences with sadness helped shape who he is and inspired his amazing music. In the beginning of his work, Dylan had a deep and important romance with Suze Rotolo, who greatly impacted his early life. Suze, who was only 17 years old, met Dylan in New York in 1961 and soon became a very important part of his life. She is well known for being on the cover of Bob Dylan's album, representing the excitement of young love. As Dylan's business took off, their relationship started to weaken. Susie cared a lot about political issues and social causes, but she felt more and more disconnected as Dylan chased different ambitions. Susie left him in 1963 because of cheating rumors and the stress of being famous. Her leaving created a big emptiness in Dylan's life, but this sadness inspired some of his best songs, like Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, and Boots of Spanish Leather. Soon after, Joan Baez became part of Dylan's life, both as a romantic partner and as a friend in his creative work. By that time, Baez was a key leader in the civil rights movement and helped Dylan gain more followers. But their relationship had some ups and downs. When Dylan started playing electric rock music, Baez felt left out and alone because it seemed like he was moving away from the civil rights movement they had both supported. Tensions were high during Dylan's 1965 UK tour, when he asked Baez to come along but didn't let her perform on stage. Baez later said that she felt confused and sad during the trip. She couldn't understand why Dylan treated her like this. Dylan felt that Baez didn't fit with his new look, which was stressing him out. These ongoing issues caused them to break up while on tour. After their separation, Baez continued her music career, penning several songs that mirrored their relationship. The most important is Diamonds and Rust, which was released in 1975. She looks back on her memories of Dylan, remembering both the good times and the hurt in their love. Other songs, like Winds of the Old Days and To Bobby, show her mixed feelings about Dylan, including both admiration and sadness. Baez and Dylan appeared together sometimes even after their romantic relationship ended. They played together during the Rolling Thunder Revue Tour from 1975 to 1976, and at the Peace Sunday concert in 1982. In later interviews, Baez said that her relationship with Dylan greatly influenced her life and work. She said that she learned to accept and move on from old hurts. Many think that Dylan's album Blood on the Tracks, 1975, featuring songs like Idiot Wind and You're a Big Girl Now, was inspired not only by his failed marriage to Sarah Lowndes, but also by the complex emotions he harbored for Joan Baez. In the early 1960s, after a complicated relationship with Joan Baez, Dylan met Sarah Lowndes. She would later become his wife and an important influence on his music business. Sarah Lowndes, originally named Shirley Marlin Nosniski, was born on October 25, 1939, in Wilmington, Delaware, to a family of Jewish refugees.